glad you came by today and joined me for Coffee and Christ, and I'm glad that y'all tuned in. And man, I know y'all remember LC. He's the bomb. You get more hits on Kerri Chronicles and Coffee and Christ. And
I think she's just watching it over and over again.
He gets more hits than me. I don't get it. Anyway, I'm so glad that you came in, and thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm excited. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about something that's kind of personal to me, and it's that the assignment that God has for you is tailor-made for you.
Ooh, yeah.
And as you know, I have my own nonprofit organization, something I didn't really plan on starting. And when I look back, I think about the journey that I'm on now and how it started and the things that I go through and the things I've been through in life. I realized that this was God's calling. This is my assignment, and all the things that I've been through in life, it happened. It wasn't by chance. It happened just as it should for me to be where I'm at with what it is that God has for me. So that's something that I've always thought about. So the verse that I was using, and as I was telling Kerri, I was reading the site, it said one verse, one topic. I took it literally. So I found one verse.
That's okay.
But I know that all verses are relevant if it's relevant to the topic. So she explained that to me. But I did choose Romans 8:28, that we know for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. So I thought, I think a lot of people, we go through things in life, and everything works together for a purpose.
Oh yeah.
And when you have a calling, you have an assignment from God. God already knows what your purpose is in life. So that means you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. You're gonna go through things, and you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're gonna have traumatic experience through life, you're gonna have awesome times, in your life. And it all works together for a purpose, but you have to continue living. But the main thing you have to do, the first part of the verse is those who love God.
Yeah.
In order to love God, you have to know God. And if you don't love God, more than likely you don't know God. So you have to seek, you have to study, you have to get a relationship with God where He can reveal Himself to you.
That's right.
And within that, that's where your assignment and your calling to come in. Because if you don't have a relationship with God, how will God be able to reveal anything to you? So you won't even understand the things that you go through life, to get to the calling that you have.
It's funny that you say that, because when I had talked with you yesterday by text and asked you what our topic was going to be today, I'm thinking to myself, well, what are we going to talk about? And I got it this morning and I got to thinking about that. And this is what I wrote. And it really goes right along with what you just said. God is uniquely forming a life assignment within you. This means that our existence is becoming a living message to others. The things that have made up your life, the various circumstances, the nagging problems, the victories, those things which made you proud, those things which have greatly humbled you, those things which have made you weep, and those things which have exhilarated you. These elements are the building blocks that God uses to shape your life assignment.
Wow.
And when you think of your path and your childhood and the things that happened to you and the care that you gave your mother and your grandfather stepping in and being that role model for you, and you stepping in and being that role model for your brother, and how you talked about how, life was very sad for you at times and very confusing, and, because you were just a kid. But it turned you into the man that you are today, and you're able to take all that you have learned and turn that into this phenomenal organization working with these kids now.
Right.
You're still, He has molded this within your soul.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's not by chance that I went through what I went through coming up. It's not by chance I didn't have a real relationship with my father. It's not by chance that I met an awesome woman who became my wife, who supported me 100%.
She's beautiful too.
Of course she is.
Yeah. You heard that, right? We know you're watching.
and what it is that we do now, we complement each other, because it's a lot of things. It takes a lot to build a nonprofit, and it takes a lot to run it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
even just doing applications, you know, doing your website.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, she has a lot of skills,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have to pay people to do these things.
Right.
You know, so here I am in a relationship with someone who I married just because I love her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I knew we could build something together, not knowing we was gonna have this organization. You know,
Right.
but by us being together, you know, by us being together, we built this thing together. We complement each other. You know.
Well, you know, when God gives you an assignment, a lot of people think I could never do that. But it's just like you're saying, you know, she has skills that you don't have. And it kind of goes back to, was it Noah who said, I can't communicate, how am I going to communicate all this? And God said, I will make that happen for you, because he felt like he wasn't a good communicator. And so you're looking at your situation, you know, in the beginning you're thinking, how can I build this LLC when I don't know how to do any of this stuff by website, and boom, your wife is like, hey, I can do this.
Right.
You know, let's build it together. So he'll give you everything that you need in life.
Right.
To accomplish the life assignment that he's given you.
That's true, you know, and like I said, I mean, to encourage others, you know, if you have a relationship with God, you know, God is letting you know what it is, the direction that he's trying to lead you in. You know, he has a will already planned for you. You have to have faith in knowing that, you know, God. If God gives it to you, he's gonna see you through it. He's gonna give you what you need to make it happen, you know. So you have to know for sure. You have to have faith in the God that you serve. That once I start this journey, I went into this journey with Our Father's Mad blindly. It started with a thought in my head, and from there it moved on. And I think most people always get to that point where I got to a point I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Mm-hmm. And I think you get to a wall where you have to make a decision.
Oh, yeah. Whether
it's going to be either if I continue forward, it's no stopping. But if I bail out now, it's not too late. Mm-hmm. And I ran into that roadblock. Mm-hmm. And I realized how big this thing could be, you know. But God had led me here. So if God led me here, why am I deciding to stop now? So I continue on with my journey, and from there, you know, we rolling full speed. And I'm still trusting them with everything.
Oh yeah, and you talked about, you know, first you have to believe in Jesus. You have to have that relationship with God, and you know, once that happens, God gives you a mission. You're not here just for your own purpose or to set your own goals or to take up space. You have an assignment, like you say, from God, and you have a new reason for living. Your life is not about you anymore. It's about God's mission and what he has planned for you. And he created everything in this universe because he wanted a family.
Right.
That's exactly why God did it. He didn't need the earth, and he didn't need the other planets. He didn't need the stars. He created all of it because he knew some of us would willingly choose to be a part of his family. And that's what he wanted. And the mission God gave Jesus, he now gives to the body of Christ. And that's the church, which would be you and I. He wanted us to help others into his family. Jesus said, in the same way that you gave me a mission in the world, I give them a mission in the world. That was John 17:18. And once we know Jesus, we're supposed to tell our friends, we're supposed to tell our family about it, we're supposed to tell strangers about it. And we can't stop there. God has never made anyone that he doesn't want saved. He loves everyone across the entire globe. So it's everywhere you go, everyone that you meet, and which is what you're doing with these children.
Right.
You know, you're meeting these kids and you're seeing who needs, who needs you to impact their lives,
right.
You know, and you take it from there. And it's not just the children, it's the fathers that you're impacting.
Right.
You know, it's the young adults that you're impacting. You know, these young 20-year-old guys that go out and maybe they get a girlfriend pregnant young, you know. You're teaching them how to stand up and be that role model for their own children.
Right.
You know, because you're setting that example for them. But
That's
this is any walk of life though. You have to look at I always say that you have to look at where you've been and find the good in that. And that's
right.
exactly what you did.
That's right.
You didn't sit and say, oh, boo-hoo, you know, my mom was sick my whole life and I ended up having to take care of my brother and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. You know, what you did was you looked at the situation and said, I will be above this. I will be better than this.
We're going to make it through.
I'm going to make it through, and I'm going to leave a mark on the world so that when somebody else goes through what I go through, they can look at me and say, you know what, this is possible.
And when you said it, made me think about something. Just thinking about tailor made for for the assignment that you have. Um, a lot of times when you have someone in my position who's trying to help someone else, like most of my speakers who come talk to my guys, they come with a story about gang banging. You know, I've been in and out of jail, and you know, I was on drugs, and you know, this and that. You know, awesome testimony to actually help someone. But I was able to take another twist on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm able to help these young men from another level. Look, check this out. I actually been in your situation. You know, I've been in a situation where I had to stand on my own to a certain extent, you know, but these are some choices that I made. So you can make these same choices. You don't have to gang bang. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to do these things. So I was able to put another twist on it besides coming from a hardcore spot.
That's awesome.
Like a lot of people can. Like a lot of people come to these youth. So, you know, and it still it still works. And I was and thinking what you was reading. Also, we talk about your assignment being tailor-made for you through God. Not only is it because of the circumstances you go through in life situations, God already knows who he has made when he makes you. And you're made in his image.
Oh yeah.
And your image is also tailor-made for what God has for you.
Oh yeah.
And when I think about it, I've always, even as a young man, even as a boy, I've always had a big heart, you know, and it carries on into my adulthood. You have to have a big heart and passion to do what it is that I do. But I thought about this lady who I met. She lived in Illinois. She worked with men prisoners, hardcore place.
Wow.
She loved it, and she said this is what God called her to do. This is what she's supposed to be doing. Now, she is a lady. She's a nice looking lady, but she's tough to the core. She's always been tough. She said even as a little girl, she always been tough, and she always hung out with boys, and she had brothers, and you know, she would be out playing football and wrestling and doing all these things with boys, but she's a lady, you know. She has a hardcore kind of demeanor, you know. I mean, you would probably be like, yeah, she's a prison guard. You know? She's a prison guard.
You can pinpoint her,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and but she talks about the impact that she makes there, and the image that God made her in, just her demeanor, in order for her to even carry out the calling that he had for her later on in life, was a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, so even outside of the trials and tribulations, you know, when he has constructed our minds, our personalities, our demeanor, the way we are, also to carry out the assignment. So it's even more. It goes way beyond, and that's where the tailor-made comes in. Because if you think about if I'm getting a suit tailor-made, it's tailor-made fitted perfectly.
That's
just for me. And that's every part of it. So when it comes to the assignment that God has for you, he has an assignment for you. If you know God, you love God, you realize that all things work together for a reason and for a purpose.
That's right.
He's going to give you your assignment. You trust what that assignment is and go through it.
That's right.
And
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that you're not going to succeed. I mean, if it's pressing on your heart and it pops in your mind, you know, like you said, our Father's mad, it just popped in your mind one day. It's just like coffee and Christ. It just popped in my mind one day. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this, you know. I don't have a doctorate of running a business or anything like that. I just said, I'm going to do this. Yeah. You learn how as you go, you know, and I said, I looked at my childhood and I thought, you know, I've been through a lot and I've healed from a lot, but I want to continue to heal and I want to continue to know God. And if I don't accomplish anything else in this world, I will heal and get to know God before I die in a deeper level, a deeper level than I could do it by myself.
It's amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Even when I think about my journey and what you said, I always say, I don't have all of these things that people think I probably should have in order to do these things. You know, I started this thing, I did my own 501c3, and I did that on my own. And got it approved the first time around. I probably couldn't even help you do a 501c3.
I'm going to ask for help. We don't know it yet, but that's my plan when this show ends.
But saying that, I went in, built the board of directors, then
Yeah.
did bylaws. I did all of these things, articles of incorporation. I did all of these things without sitting in front of someone telling me what to do. But I didn't have to,
Right.
because I trusted in the assignment that God gave me.
That's right.
And I knew 100% that this was not something that I set out to do. I never set out to do something like this.
That's right.
And it happened, and I know it was God's assignment. I know it was God's calling. So even outside of the fact that I know that all the things that I deal with now and go through now, the things I've been through in life, it was purposely for this purpose that I'm the journey I'm on now. He still see me through with what it is I need to know as I go through. He gives you what it is that you need. So I encourage anyone, step out on faith, man. Believe that, know that most people know what their calling is. Most people know what their assignment is. A lot of people decide not to go for it. Don't make that decision. Trust and believe in the same God who saw you through all the things who you give him credit for throughout your entire life. He's the same God who's going to see you through from here on out. So as Christians, sometimes I think we forget, we find ourselves in a situation and we throw our hands up and try to figure out how we're going to get through. But man, we have a track record of God showing up.
That's right.
And seeing us through. So I encourage anyone, follow it. I mean, you have to know. And I'll say this, one way that you know that you're in God's will, his purpose is going to be set out within you. I have people, I pray a lot when it comes to what I've been building with this organization. I don't sit down every day and every night and pray specifically about every single thing about it. And I'm going to tell you why. I do pray about it, but a lot of times I really don't have to, because I'm trusting in God so much that I know that I'm walking within his will to the extent that I'm so close with him and what it is that I'm doing. I'm allowing him to guide me and lead me as I go forward. So he's revealing himself through me as I move forward, as I make decisions, as I build programs, and as I decide to do this and I decide to do that. So once you in that covenant with God and you walking within that will, he's just gonna walk you through it. You just gotta trust him and just continue to guide yourself through it.
And you say that when you say that you don't pray every day in the sense for every little piece of your business. And what that is that's trusting in him so much that you just thank him for it. It's like when I'm sick and I don't feel well, I don't say, "Dear Lord, please heal my body." I say, "Lord, thank you for healing me."
Right.
Because I trust that he will.
Right.
That's on the same lines.
Right.
Like you're not nitpicking every different division of your organization and saying, do this. It's more like, thank you, Lord, because you are walking with me and guiding me in a way that I could never do this on my own.
Right.
Like God, you're healing me in a way that I know I could never do on my own.
Well, it wasn't an assignment that I gave myself.
Right.
So I would be foolish to try to take over.
Right. And another thing is this makes me think about inheritances for your children. I read an article recently about inheritances, and in the Bible, I don't know that when God talks about an inheritance, he necessarily means money. I think what he's talking about is giving your children a good foundation in life. He's saying, teach your children how to work hard and how to respect and how to be courageous and to keep a good character.
Right.
And how to love one another, and how to reach out to those that are truly in need, and to meet people and hear their stories without judgment. You never want to have a preconceived judgment against somebody without hearing their story. Like when people come to you, I know the kids come to you and they talk to you and they tell you their most personal things. Don't judge them up front. Just don't judge them. That's not what we're here for. And I think that's a lot of what inheritances is with our children. It's like, if I died today and I didn't leave my child a penny because I didn't have a penny to leave her, I know that she could make it in the world because she has good character.
Right.
And she respects life and she loves God. And you know what I mean? And that is another big thing about what we do for helping one another with our mission with God. That's what he wants us to do. He wants us to set that example.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I run into a lot of people who, since I started my nonprofit, I have run into a lot of people who come to me and say, I have this idea and I would like to do this, and I've sat down with people, and that's why I started doing the consulting and coaching through my LLC. But a lot of times people, they have, and it's all kind of different things that people would like to do, and one thing I always ask them, is it something that you just always wanted to do, or is it something that you feel within yourself that you're supposed to be doing, and it's a difference. And I ask them that because if it's something that you're supposed to be doing, more than likely that's God speaking to you and telling you need to go forward. But I have a lot of people who end up not showing up, and I see them a year and a half later, and they're still telling me I still want to do it. I'm still going to do it. So I just think about those people. I know it's a lot of people out there. I almost was that person that was almost stopped before I got too far in. It's nothing more fulfilling. I don't get paid to do this.
That's right.
And it takes up a lot of my time. I don't get paid to do it, but I love it. I love it. God has given me something. It's very fulfilling. It's nothing better than doing what it is that God has for you to do. So I kind of want to just encourage people, who's watching and who's listening to, really trust in what that thing is inside of you, because that's God just speaking to you.
A lot of people say it's instincts, or your gut, you're trusting your gut, but I think it's God saying, hey, I'm trying to tell you something here. Pay attention. I'm trying to tell you. The Spirit
of God.
That's right.
And it makes a difference, the things that you want to do, think about it. We have to get outside of those walls inside the church house. Our calling is much more than just ushering and singing in the choir and things like that. For some of us, maybe people's calling is just there, but it's a lot of us out here that have to get out here and do God's work out here. And like I said, this is not something I plan on doing. But what I do know is that this is God's work. I know that for sure. So, trust in God. Just go for it, because I didn't know anything. I was pronouncing 501c3, 501(3) something. So just trust, because God is not going to give you anything that you're not going to have passion for.
That's right. That's
going to drive you. The Spirit of God is going to drive you, and just go for it and just let Him lead you and guide you through.
And when you do that, also what God does is He will put people in your life that can guide you into that. I'm sure that when you first got started, you met a lot of people that awesome. That's right. You look, it's kind of like my relationship with Brother Fred. It's like I started doing this. I already knew Brother Fred. He had just gotten started on the No More Dirty television show, but he already had Strictly Jesus, and I had worked with him in other areas when I was on the radio show, and he had some things going on at the church, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like I couldn't ask for more perfect partners than you and Fred and Jeremy and Rachel, because we're all working together, and as we're growing, we're helping each other in our growth, and we're teaching each other, and we're saying, hey, this is where I made a mistake, don't do this, you know what I mean? So you kind of help each other along the way, and God will place those people in your life to give you guidance. And you just have to have an open heart and an open mind to it, and trust in God and be confident.
And you're 100% right.
That's right.
And you would deal with a lot of different people, and that's where, God will reveal to you, who it is you should deal with, and who's going to help you with the cause and the mission that He has set out for you. So, because I've met some great people, awesome people. It's not by chance that I applied for UPS as a teenager and I got hired there. And it's not by chance that I end up on the route that I'm on, that I was on when I started, because I had one route for 2 years and I moved to another route. That's when I built Our Father's Mat.
Oh yeah.
My people on my route, I built a great relationship with them before I even started Our Father's Mat. So I had been dealing with them for some years. So, they was like my family on my job. But when I started Our Father's Mat, that was 95% of my support came from. you know, these people, and to this day, they still support me.
That's
You know, when
awesome.
it comes to donations, furniture donations, resources, you know, monetary donations, you know, I pay for my 501c3 through people on my route, you know.
That's awesome.
So these people, it wasn't by chance I was there. It wasn't by chance that I built such a good relationship with them, because I could have been on that route for 6 years and never even got a chance to really know anybody.
That's right, yeah.
And guess what? I wouldn't have got a support from them like I have.
That's right.
And what happened, when somebody told me, they was like, Kurt, those people on your route, man, they don't care what you. He said, you can have a ministry about something crazy like, I don't know, collecting charcoal and trying to make diamonds out of it or something. He said, they're going to support you because they support you.
Yeah,
They
that's
support
true.
you more than your cause, you know. So that wasn't by chance, you know. So, you know, when we go, we sometimes we have these jobs and we in circumstance, we in different places. You're exactly where you was at for a reason. You where you are for a reason. You know that and accept that, and watch God work. You know,
Yeah.
watch God do His thing, because if you allow Him to do His thing, He's gonna do His thing.
It's
That's
going
for sure.
to be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
I want to thank you so much for coming in today. I've really enjoyed this too. I hated that we're out of time. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and if you would, please share your thoughts with us. Let us know how we're doing. Let us, you know, we want to talk with you, so share your thoughts with us and let us know. And if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, shoot us an email. Let us know who you want to cover the topic. We've got several different cast members. We would love that. And also, I just want to say, keep it real and keep it Christ.
Keep it real, keep it Christ, and know that God's assignment is tailor-made just for you.
That's right. Bye-bye, everybody.